superheroes. We all know them as the strong and brave people who use their incredible gifts to protect our world from those who wanted to rule it or flat out destroy it. There's no better example of this age-old story than with the classic rivalries like Superman and Lex Luthor or Batman and the Joker. But what happens if the hero loses? What if the villain actually beat them and successfully took over the world? Well, DreamWorks Animation explored those questions and meshed their creative minds together to bring us
Megamind! Hit it!
Though he is the most brilliant supervillain the world has ever known, Megamind is the least successful. Thwarted time and time again by the heroic Metro Man, Megamind is more surprised than anyone when he actually manages to defeat his longtime enemy. But without Metro Man, Megamind feels he has no purpose in life, so he creates a new opponent, who quickly decides that it's more fun to be a bad guy than a hero. Now with the help of his alien henchman named Minion and TV reporter Roxanne Ritchie, Megamind must stop his new threat, discover his true path, and become a hero himself. During the height of superhero films, thanks to ones like The Dark Knight, the idea for the movie all started with a pitch in 2008 that's boiled down to, what if Lex Luthor defeated Superman? Originally intended as a live-action film, the creators of that pitch, Alan Schoolcraft and Brent Simons, presented the idea to Red Hour Films, where Ben Stiller, the founder of the company, brought it to DreamWorks Animation after seeing it working better as an animated film. The film went through many names along the way before Megamind stuck with the crew. Teasing the movie as Mastermind, they eventually changed it to Ubermind before revising it and becoming the title we know now. There were some actors considered to voice the title character, like Ben Stiller himself or Robert Downey Jr., until the role was ultimately given to Will Ferrell. Although Stillers became an executive producer of the film and was even cast as the glum museum curator Bernard.
Oh, you scared me. Barry, right?
Bernard.
I was talking to myself. You probably think I'm a little bit nuts.
I'm not allowed to insult guests directly.
For Metro Man, Evil Dead star Bruce Campbell was considered for the role before DreamWorks casted someone with more star power. But Campbell's face was partially used as inspiration for Metro Man's final design, along with a more outlandish Elvis look. As for the animation, character effects artists worked with a professional tailor early in production to learn more about clothing design, tailoring, fitting, and other cloth properties so the simulated garments could more accurately mimic real life. The effects artists sewed their own capes and wore them while doing serious research and development such as flying on rope swings, zip lines, and indoor skydiving. In the scene where Titan's flying with Roxanne over the city was one of the most complex sequences to process. In the shot where Roxanne is being thrown over the building, it required over 3,500 layers of compositing. Not to mention that Metro City took up 1 terabyte of disk space with over 90,000 buildings and roads, and several shots through the film took over 24 hours to render, with the maximum being 50 hours for a single shot. Originally, Megamind was supposed to be part of a Legion of Doom-style team called the Doom Syndicate. Story artist Ryan Savas shared sketches of potential villains like White Zombie, the Barista, the Octopus, Rhinestone, and, no joke, Alec Baldwin himself, who can hypnotize his victims with awesome acting skills. However, as the script went into a different direction and the budget got tighter, the Doom Syndicate were removed. But not entirely erased for good, as 5 of Ryan's other villains in the league make major appearances in some of the tie-in video games of the film.
Introducing Destruction Worker, Psychodelic, Hot Flash, Judge Sludge, and the Conductor.
Actor Justin Theroux, who played Megamind's father, and Book of Life director Guillermo del Toro, worked as creative consultants on the film. Although the latter came on board 3 weeks before the end of production and assisted a bit with the editing, he did have more substantial roles in future DreamWorks projects, like being an executive producer for Puss in Boots, Kung Fu Panda 2, Rise of the Guardians, and Kung Fu Panda 3, and being the creator of the Tales of Arcadia trilogy for Netflix. One note to add is that the opening scene where Megamind is seen falling to his death was actually Del Toro's idea. Originally, the film was supposed to be released in Japan on March 12, 2011, but due to the 2011 Tohoku earthquakes and tsunamis, the Japan release was left in limbo until June 23, 2018, 7 years after its intended release. To promote the film, Will Ferrell invited wannabe superheroes to participate in the party on October 5, 2010, a month before the film's release. What Will didn't predict was that he made hero history and had set the Guinness World Record for largest gathering of superheroes with 1,580 attendees, breaking the old record by just 79 superheroes. And when Megamind equipped his dehydration gun and leapt into action on November 5th, 2010, his mission to conquer the world went good. Not as good as what DreamWorks hoped for, but it was still a success nonetheless. The critics had a good time with it, saying that although the plot was a bit unoriginal, especially when some compared it to another animated film released that same year with Despicable Me, it was still a fun film regardless, and they praised the animation, the humor, and especially the voice acting. As for the box office, it did decently enough, making over $148.4 million domestically and around $321 million worldwide, becoming not only the 6th highest grossing animated film of 2010, but also one of the lowest grossing films DreamWorks ever had. The reason why it didn't make as much as DreamWorks had hoped for was mostly due to competition with other films at the time, like Disney's Tangled and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. As for awards, the film only got a few nominations, including 5 Annie Awards and a couple of miscellaneous ones. But even with its decent run, the film did find redemption on home media. When it was out on Blu-ray and DVD on February 25th, 2011, they included an animated short called Megamind, The Button of Doom, which had its premiere on Nickelodeon the next day. It became the 7th best-selling DVD of 2011 with more than 3 million units sold. And as I've mentioned before, there were a couple tie-in games that were made for the film, with Megamind Ultimate Showdown on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, Megamind Team Ultimate for the Wii, and Megamind The Blue Defender on the PSP and Nintendo DS. Today, Megamind is fondly remembered and quoted by fans happy to mispronounce Metrocity, Shul, and Spider, but despite its underwhelming performance in theaters, like the villain himself, it eventually rose and proved to the world that Megamind is the baddest hero the world has ever seen.